Man, Megatron gets it right all the time. Time to surrender by slaughter. No, excuse me, Winger. Winger, Kip Winger. Very talented musician. Happy Mother's Day to people out there. People ask me, Rad, do you ever say Happy Mother's Day to your baby mama? No. Now, I quit that years ago. The kids are old enough to do it themselves. I call my mother. I was just on the phone with her, and I said Happy Mother's Day to her. She's still married to my father. She's still a female, but she is disgusted by the modern day 304s and comes from a different generation. So shout out to old Christian, Megatron, BJ. Good to see you. Steven from Arizona. I think, isn't Steven, I think you're overseas, right? But let's talk about this. Let's see. Christian says he's got crazy news. And he's in Norway. What's happening in Norway? So let's talk about this. The gut is responsible for men's fantasy. What does that mean? Well, they've made tremendous amounts of research into the gut-brain connection. Everything we feel, you ever hear the terms, you get kicked in the gut, I feel it right here, I can't eat, I feel depressed. Everybody feels it in the gut. That's where we feel. We don't feel in the brain. The brain is just a processor of sorts. It's taking all of this energy, this information in from the eyes, the ears, everything, and it's processing it so that we can do something with that data. We don't feel in the brain. We feel in the gut. And the gut is responsible for the ability to love or to think that you love or to be in love. And we rely on the gut. But the gut, guess what? The chemicals are very, what's the word? They can be very deceptive. How about that? That's how I put it. JC is in the house. Good to see you from Texas. Don't mess with Texas. I was just out in San Antonio last weekend. Stephen is in the sandbox. There you go. So men get tripped up on literally believing what they feel is real because you can feel those emotions. I felt them. I felt those chemicals, and I said those chemicals are true love. They're, when I met my wife in 1996, they're the love of I feel. And then when your babies are born, obviously I think that's a very different sort of chemical interaction than a falling in love piece, right? A romantic falling in love. But men put so much energy in what they feel in their gut, and that can be a fantasy, that can be a reality that could lead you down the wrong path. Men, when they are rejected, they feel it right here. They go crazy. They use those emotions to process through their brains, and they could do very, very nefarious things based on that, based on what they feel in the gut. So we have to really understand what our gut is and what the chemicals are communicating to our brain. You don't feel it. I mean, I guess you can feel certain very specific loves. I think the births of my kids and the love that I feel for my kids is more of a heart-based love. Can you love people from your heart? Probably, but the falling in love is all romance. It's a Hallmark channel. It doesn't work. In the end, people fall out of love, complacency, familiarity. I don't care who you are. Everybody goes through it. So we have to really understand the gut-brain connection. And we have to use the brain to understand the gut if we want to proceed in life. It's as simple as that. All right. Gotcha. That is crazy, brother. That is crazy. That is crazy. Ditch the American diet, and being carnivore has made me a laser-focused, cold-blooded savage, fixed a ton of issues. That's another thing. How do we eat? You know, I'm guilty of eating some burgers and French fries. And in fact, I had In-N-Out with my boys the other day. You know, once a month, I'll have an In-N-Out burger, animal style, of course, cheeseburger with fries. But if we eat every day, that obviously is going to influence the weakness of ourselves through the gut. Well said, Stephen. Gone with John is back. Good to see John. He's out pressure washing. You guys want to learn how to build a business? Watch Gone with John's channel. Number one, he makes great content for men. Number two, He's a few years younger than me, but he's helping men build businesses and be independent and out of the system. Remember, the red pill also encompasses everything that's outside of relationships. It talks about economics. It talks about government. It talks about education. It talks about peace, quiet, and freedom. It talks about hobbies. It talks about removing toxicity out of your life. I think relationships is one piece of it, but there's a whole iceberg underneath that. And a lot of guys find the red pill because of a divorce or a breakup or so forth. Good to have you, John. I had butterflies and I always loved her, but she left me because she thought she started to make more money and inherited the house from her mother. Everything changed once I became wheelchair bound. Well, anytime a provider gets hurt, you are not seen as a provider or a protector anymore, unfortunately. I have a very, very wealthy friend worth 10, 20 million. He broke his neck. His wife had an affair. Go figure. Even though he recovered, it was like a 4-month recovery, or he had surgery or what have you. But when they see a debilitated, weak man, their primordial instinct said, this guy can't protect me. I'm going to go find someone that can. So you being in a wheelchair, Betty, and good to have you, lines up with that. Saying things, anything can be used by you folks. Well said. Christian, loss of appetite for days can go with being love sick. Correct. You know, there's a lot of talk about our logic, but men also, we suffer in the gut. Boy, when I was served divorce papers, even though our marriage sucked for several years before that, I didn't like her. It's still that rejection hit me gut punch right in the gut. And I had to understand that. I had to understand that these chemicals I was feeling was basically the brain protecting itself. The brain protecting itself so I can further my, I can continue to work. Although men and women compartmentalize our emotions much differently. Women they can break up and still work, still take care of their kids, still put their makeup on. Men, when we get rejected, we stop in our tracks. We can't eat. We can't function. We just want to go to sleep. We just don't compartmentalize like women do. And that's how we're built. That's our biology. Well said, Christian. Absolutely. Be careful. My gut messed up when I'm down bad in a relationship. I get nauseous when I was broken. Absolutely. I think we're all there, John. You laid it down in Chinatown with that statement. Heaviness in my chest. It felt like rage. There's just chemicals. Those chemicals are literally enormous loads of dopamine, vasopressin, oxytocin, serotonin, and it's mingled. All those emotions, if you think about it, it's like going to a soda pop fountain. You can put a little bit of, if you ever did the graveyards back in the 80s, we do these called graveyards. We put Dr. Pepper and orange soda pop and grape pop. We mix it all together. They're called graveyards. They're called whatever. But the reality is if you put too much of one thing, it turns out to taste like crap, right? But if you put just like orange pepper, we'd always do that. Dr. Pepper, then half Dr. Pepper, half orange, and it tasted good. But when we're going through rejection, there are chemicals that are out of control up and some that are down, but they're the same chemicals, right? And we think it's all in our brain. But we feel it in the gut. The gut's responsible. It's very fascinating, the gut to brain connection in anything. There's a lot of guys, Christian, that take it to the extreme. Absolutely. I couldn't digest food for 6 months properly after divorce. It was utter annihilation. Yeah, because we live in that gut. And then our brain's trying to fix it. And then if we try to fix it, then the connection between the gut and the brain is trying to fix it, feeling those strong emotions, trying to figure it out, how to fix it. And then it causes, the cycle continues. It's a hamster wheel. But the moment, and I've talked about this multiple times, and I listened to a psychologist that talked about this, the moment we accept the fact that this woman does not love us, or she broke up with us, she rejected us, it's been 9 years for me. Our brain will go and find ways to make that a reality, and we'll work with the gut to lessen the impact. Does that make sense? Spoken to my neighborhood about my Shell gas station. He laughed, and I said, "These fools are nuts. I'm happy." When a man puts a woman first, he suffers. Carnivore, working out, fixed my T levels, brain fog, sadness over past relationships, feel way more focused on it. I think what we put in our bodies physically has a huge impact. Well said, Stephen. Well said. CJ says emotions are the furthest thing from reality you can experience. How crazy of a statement is that? You're absolutely 100% right, CJ. Our emotions influence our reality, and it's all based on our gut biome. It's crazy. When you start understanding the connection, you can really make changes in your life. But it takes a while, right? It takes a while. Remember, you gut punched. I feel it in my gut. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I feel the nauseousness, gone what John was talking about. It's all here. So how do we get past it? How do we learn? We have to understand that our gut is responsible for these chemicals. And our brain is trying to process it, and it's sending signals back to the gut sending signals back to the brain, and it becomes a loop. The only way out of it is to accept it. That's it. Your kid doesn't talk to you, accept it. Your kid's alienated, doesn't like you, has been, poisoned against you, accept it. That's the only way out of this whole circle. I mean, you can come and listen to these channels all day long if you want, and they help for a term. But once these channels turn off and you go to bed at night and you wake up in the morning with that pit in your stomach, it's because you haven't accepted it. That's the whole reality of the red pill. You have to accept female nature. You have to accept what happens. You have to accept your own nature. You have to accept the fact that you believed in a fantasy that was built and manufactured, literally manufactured in your gut. The chemicals that you've ingested, the chemicals that your brain, your hypothalamus creates. I mean, we have our own pharmacy in our brain and our gut. We can cure any possible. I mean, the Vedic, the Bhagavad Gita talks about this. If any of my Indian brothers are here, it talks about that we have a natural pharmacy of every potential concoctions to help us get through life, built in. But no, what do? Take the easy way out, right? Well said, Christian. Megatron says, half orange, half cream soda for me. What'd you guys call it? We called it graveyards when I grew up. I'm going to get back to fasting, but food become your friend when you are depressed. Absolutely. People satiate those chemicals with food, albeit not the right food, right? That's why there's that term, comfort food, junk food. A lot of men get depressed. What do they start doing? Eating Taco Bell. I love Taco. I love all that fast food. If you say you don't like fast food, you're not telling the truth. But you got to moderate fast food. But it's hard. It's hard those first 6, 8, 12, 14 weeks. It's hard to eat well. You want to satiate those gut chemicals by putting, not great food in your dummy. Well said. Fasting is another way to literally reset those biochemicals. That helps. There's a spiritual aspect of it. There's obviously a physical aspect. There's a healing aspect of it. There's a mental and emotional aspect of it. But, you got to get into it. Calisthenics helped cure my depression, says Mega. Well said, brother. Exercise. Exercise is another way to leverage your chemicals within your gut and your brain. Doing something good for your body is going to send signals to your gut to create more happy feeling, more positive chemicals. Feeling depressed, your gut's going to create depressive type chemicals to continue the story. It's all the story we're telling ourselves. BJ says it's all emanating from our gut. Well said, brother. I just found out a coworker has 12 kids and 6 baby mamas. Oh my gosh, poor guy. Good to see you, Roland 96 back here. Can you imagine how much child support? Guy's got to keep his wiener in his pants. In addition to the brain, the gut also has a large amount of serotonin saturation and serotonin production. Yeah, based on what we think. The body is very fascinating if you think about it. And I've learned a lot going through this divorce. It's been 9 years, 43 years old. I'm going to be 52 this year. And I've learned a lot about life. I've learned what my body puts out, what my body the chemicals put out in my life. And you know what? When I feel the happiest and the most free is when I'm doing the things for me. Not selfishly, not disregarding my kids or my responsibilities, but doing the things that bring me pure happiness, hiking, biking, skateboarding, playing my guitar, things like that. Christian, you got to take care of those guys, brother. Be careful with those guys. Anyone interested, just research how dangerous processed food, sugar, and even vegetables are. All ultra-processed, covered in cancer-causing chemicals and low nutritional values. Yeah, there's a lot of value in carnivore. I pound on about carnivore because it radically changed my life. Has it changed your life? I would love to know the emotional output of carnivore. And I think literally you are what you eat. You eat strong meat, right? You eat deer, you eat elk, you eat beef, you eat strong animals. I think that strength somehow correlates to how we live our life. We eat junk, we feel like junk, right? So appreciate that. Yeah, we got carnivores in here. We got keto guys. We got all sorts of things. They got jealous of your BMW, and I got banned for 15 from a 15-year-old girl. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Mysterio from Winnipeg, our beloved Canadian. What is the gut instinct? That's another thing. When we feel, literally the gut, a lot of folks have said that the gut has more of a play in our reality than our brain. Our brain is a processor. Okay. Our brain is the RAM, but our gut and our heart are making us are crafting our reality. So we have to really, we can talk about Mysterio. We could talk about red pill all day long. Female nature, hypergamy, Briefald's law, you name it. But at the end of the day, the gut is the only thing that will help us change our reality. I got to get some sleep. I love what you're doing, Rad. Great work. Thanks for being here. Gone with John. You're rad. We got to do something down the road. It's called Carnivore Calm. There's something about eating. Look, our ancestors all ate meat. For them to have a sugar, a sweet event, they'd have to put their hand in a honeybee's nest and get stung a million times, and they'd probably only find that honeybee's nest once every 6 months. And berries, right? Thanks for being here, CJ. Appreciate that comment. Carnivore Calm. I love all junk food and have a BMI of 23. Weight maintenance is primarily about managing caloric intake. Physical activity is helpful, but a much lesser degree than caloric. Yeah. Well, they say 80. I got a buddy that's a personal trainer, and he's a pain therapist. He says 80% of your physique is diet. So you're absolutely right on that. Every one of us has a six-pack below our belly. You know what's causing it not to appear? Or if we don't want it to appear, it's our diet. Nick Vincent is back. Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you being in the chat. Carnivore and working out stabilized my hormones, helped me get over my ex-wife. Lost 70 pounds in 8 months. T level dramatically increased just to feel more masculine. They say red meat, no alcohol, and heavy squats, heavy deadlifts is what keeps your T, even in your 50s and 60s, high. Do you think Steve McQueen and Sean Connery were on testosterone back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s? No, they didn't exist. Getting T back then was very rare, very uncommon. But they had a different diet. They were physical. They didn't play video games. They worked hard. They came from a different generation. Shell Varden, enjoy your shift Udia. There you go. Steven says, I do OMAD carnivore. I only eat once a day, and it's a huge fat steak with bacon, 8 months of only meat, and I'm 100%. I guarantee your whole world has changed. Your whole body, your whole reality has changed by eating the carnivore. I think there's nothing wrong with carnivore. Problem with me is I miss my salsa. I miss my guacamole. And I know guacamole or avocados are good. There's some guys out there, what is it, Dr. Paul, and the other guy that's really big on the other doctor. They're actually adding some avocado, a little bit of rice, a little bit of mango to their carnivore now. But I think there's a lot of value in doing a 6 to 8 to 12 week carnivore strict only. Get back, reset, then add those good vegetables in. And there's only 4. I saw a video that they said Brussels sprouts were good, broccoli, asparagus, and something else. and then blueberries. That's what they add. So, but just to get you back on your feet for 8 months to a year, I think that's great. My gut instinct for life is that most of us will go in and out of relationships. You are not mistaken, Mysterio. You're absolutely 100% right. Guys, life is about a book. A book has multiple chapters. Let's just say a book has 30 chapters. Every chapter is going to be 3 years of your life. Can you imagine reading the same chapter over and over and over again? And how that would help you? Would it help you? Maybe. There's some people that can go. The whole book is the same chapter in a different setting, but it's the same chapter. Forgot to mention that also that I quit drinking after being an alcoholic in denial most of my life. Good for you. Alcohol. I had some wine tonight, but it is what it is. But I think the less is more, absolutely. And eventually, when I would love to be a non-drinker eventually. Overall, sex, women, feelings, and relationships weaken men and hinder your life goals. I Renegade. Good to have you, brother. You're absolutely right. Is avocado really a fruit? It is a fruit. Actually, it is a fruit. Mm-hmm. And a tomato is a fruit. So next time you're in the self-checkout line and you're like looking for the avocado and you're going under fruit, say, manager, can't find the avocado. And they're like, oh, you're in the fruit. You're not in vegetables. Well, it's not a vegetable. It's a fruit. Can you go get your manager and change that? See what they say. It's actually considered a fruit, apparently. I do fasting and OMAD for the most part. I still get told every 3 to 6 weeks I'm looking lean. 53 going on 33, Mysterio. Rad, my friend, almost 2 years after my divorce, lost almost 70. Oh, you're almost 2 years after divorce and lost almost 70 pounds. Never felt great. Better. Good for you, gone fishing. It's awesome. Whatever we can do, a lot of getting through the whole red pill circus is our thinking and what we put in our stomach. And I think a lot of our thinking comes from what we put in our stomach. Morgan, that one dude did that whole he ate McDonald's for a month. He felt like shit. He was depressed and so forth. Well, he put depressing foods in his stomach. He didn't put energizing vibrancy in his stomach. He put, but I love a Big Mac. I love McDonald's fries. They're chemically laden with 23 different chemicals and additives, but I still love it. But would I eat it every day? I'd feel like shit. Right? Virtue signaling vegans inspire me to eat much more meat than otherwise would be the case. All you got to tell a vegan is this. It kills more animals, squirrels, rodents, mice, groundhogs to cultivate 6 acres of soy. And so they're actually killing more animals and wildlife to plant their soy gardens. And then all vegans and vegetarians, for the most part, look angry. We are men. I have canines. I have sharp teeth. Those are sharp fangs. Those do not eat lettuce. Those eat meat. There are several versions of the carnivore. Dirty carnivore eats avocado. Okay, Sean Baker, that's who I was talking about. Ken Berry, I've watched him. I haven't watched Shafi, and I've watched Paul Saladino. Saladino is isn't he drinking raw milk and eating raw honey down in Costa Rica? He also doesn't wear sunglasses or sunscreen. I find him very fascinating. He's literally going against, but you know what? Here's the deal. This is what I think. And I appreciate those that stick to a very strict diet. And if it does wonders for you, I love it. I just love every now and again chips and salsa. I love a light beer. I love every now and again a burger. And I know moderation is good, but if I eat it every day, what's going to happen? I eat a lot of salads, but you're absolutely right. So I think one needs to experience in life. And if the carnivore apparently with Steven has helped him tremendously, just keep doing it, right? Keep doing it what brings you ultimate health in your world. You got banned. That's funny. Christian Henney getting banned. Gave up cigs a year. Haven't drunk for 5 months. Good for you, Nick. How do you feel? Not only, let's say this, is your physical is much better, I guarantee, but what is your mental and emotional state now? Tell the guys. Vegetables do not scientifically exist. It's a culinary term. Search vegetables do not exist. Interesting. I know they have oxidates. What's the other one? It starts with an L. They have literally protection mechanisms so nobody will eat them. I mean, our ancestors foraged for blueberries, anything with a berry at the end of it, raspberry, blackberry, marionberry, honey, and typically meat. And the meat was probably not always cooked, but I guarantee a lot of it was, raw or medium rare. Mysterio says, did I consume a lot of fast food? I don't think a lot of fast food. I started fasting 8 years ago in 2016 when I went through it. So I decreased. I mean, there are times, I had times where I wouldn't drink a lot. There's times if I was learning who I was. And so, I did imbibe, but not to a point where I couldn't function. I just, I'd feel like crap the next day. And I think people go through that. And I think there's parts of me that I'm glad I went through it, because now I know what life feels like, not in that regards anymore. Does that make sense? But there's guys that go off the deep end and they get so addicted to certain substances that they can't get out of it. All things in moderation, including junk food, says JC. Well said. I was in San Antonio with a bunch of workmates last week, and we had wonderful food. Great chips and salsa. You know those chips where they're so thin and the salsa is just so perfectly spiced with the right amount of roasted poblanos and tomatoes, and and fresh guacamole made tableside with and that, to be strict carnivore, that is a dedication that I respect for my brothers. That is not easy. I've never been able to moderate anything. Some people can, but I have to do things strict or I will deviate. Yeah, if you've got that mindset to just go full throttle, awesome. It's a little bit more difficult for me. There's certain things I can do full throttle. There's certain things I can't. Black Pill Pack Backer, good to see you, brother. McDonald's is full of GMO. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Even these eggs that you buy at the grocery store, they say cage-free and, no hormones. There's certain regulations they have to follow. They could be in a huge cage, not locked up in these little mini cages, but they could be in a huge cage with 10 feet of running around, and they call it cage free. So yeah, absolutely. One Mighty and Strong is back. Good to see you. What do we have more of, obese or alcoholics? Oh, geez. I would say more obesity. I think alcoholism is especially since the pandemic, has taken a huge increase. What comes after the red pill? The fun pill. Enjoy life. There you go, Nick. And that's why we're here, to tell men that whatever you've gone through, whatever situation you're dealing with, what it could be alienation, it could be in the court system, it could be a financial burden by, years of alimony and child support, you can get through it. You can have a better life every single day. It's a belief in the acceptance that you can. And I'm not going to go Tony Robbins on anybody. I just know because I've done it. The problem with greens and vegetables is unless you grow them yourself in your yard, store-bought greens are GMO and soaked and can't. Yep. That's the thing. And even, they say, oh, these are organic vegetables, but they're being tilled in the same dirt. And that dirt's been treated over, several decades with potential, ways to kill wildlife, right? So wildlife don't, eat the vegetables. But you're right. A home garden is the best way to get the most maximum nutrition out of those plants. Well said. Jerron Markel is back. I hate McDonald's, but I always get a Southwest grilled chicken salad. Attaboy. Even road trips. I remember eating with 20 years ago, met a meat salesman at a bar. I'm waiting for a client to show up in Seattle. Issaquah, in fact. And I said, well, you sell meat? What do you mean there? I sell it to restaurants. I sell it to fast food. I sell it to Costco. I said, well, let me ask you this. What's the best meat out there? If I was to eat a fast food restaurant, what would you recommend? He said, Wendy's. Wendy's and In-N-Out are the best. They have the strictest standards. And I said, well, what about Costco? He said, those Costco Polish dogs and hot dogs and pizza, pepperoni pizza, are some of the most strictest regulations. Costco will send back meat if it is not, and they monitor it themselves too. So there you go. But do you eat a Polish dog every day? No. But if you had a Polish dog, I wouldn't feel bad about it because it's based on strict standards of Costco. And Costco is they're difficult to deal with. If you have a wonderful product, they will make you change the packaging. They will make you do all sorts of shit to get that product in front of millions of eyeballs. Mysterious says, what do you think of the pre-rad divorce what do you think the pre-rad divorce would make of the post-rad right now in terms of viewing the channel? I'm glad you're viewing the post-divorce rad, not the pre-rad. I was still trying to figure out life. I had younger kids. It was all so new. John says, most of these foods keep men feminized, lots of estrogens and cortisol triggers. Well said, brother. Well said. Good for you, Mysterio. Good for you for not drinking. Bookshelf says, brother Bookshelf Rad, you need to have Tony Robbins on. I remember me and my wife did Personal Power in 1997. We actually bought the CD set. There's like 25 CDs. It was like $300. We did it together. It helped. It actually helped. He talks a lot about anchoring and acceptance too. Imagine being trained from birth to not only be a willing slave, but be trained to believe that this is your purpose. Oh, wait, this is what has been done to males since the beginning of time. Couldn't agree more, one mighty and strong. Any Alex Jones fans? His last episode, he had a PhD scientist who worked at Fort Detrick in developing poisons and genetic weapons, and they went deep on GMO. I like Alex Jones. In fact, everyone thought he was crazy. I liked Alex Jones when I voted for Ron Paul in 2004. Yes, I was one of the original Ron Paulers because Ron Paul was all about Austrian economics. And, you know, Alex Jones is great. A lot of the things Alex Jones has said has come to pass. Let's see if I can do Alex Jones. Glenn Beck is a shill for the New World Order. Mitt Romney dyes his hair with Clorox and dishwashing soap. They're putting landing strips for gay Martians. Did I sound like Alex Jones? Who resonates more, Tony Robbins or Deepak? I like Deepak Chopra. I read his Ageless. What is that? He wrote it in like the 90s. Ageless something. Yes, unless you grow your own food, most of the food in supermarkets are self-contaminated. Jerron's coming out of the closet telling us he loves Wendy's. Nothing wrong with the Dave single, that's for sure. Game Genie of Life is 100% right. Absolutely. Jerron Markell from Brooklyn. Men literally gamble with their lives chasing and serving females. 99.9% of the time men lose this gamble. Absolutely 100%. Go look at all the 48 Hours, which is a TV show in the United States and maybe Canada. Look at what's the other one that's big? Lifetime movies. It's all about a dude that gets involved in his emotions and he ends up deleting himself or deleting others. There's tons of them. It's because they don't have their gut emotions in check. Alex says, good to see you. What's up, Brad? Just got off work. Busy day in the restaurant. I'm here now. Good to have you from a hard day's work. Alex, good to have you back. Biggest lie I ever told the men is that there is a female out there who will love them. Good luck with that. I've always said 2%. Stephen from Arizona gave us some mathematical statistics. We did that on a live a few weeks ago. Talks about 2% of women are able to love men. But they're also female-brained and spaghetti-brained. And we are male. You know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Is that ever going to change? Nope. No, it's never going to change. But you're absolutely right. I mean, men, society has programmed men to become living Hallmark actors. They want us to live in a Hallmark television episode. If only if we were nicer and we were more chivalrous, and we acted more like a gentleman and not so abusive and controlling. But if we were more loving and we gave them validation and appreciation, then we would all be happily married. One only has to understand the red pill. I'm going to tell you what women are like. The majority of women, 98%, seek protectors and providers. They love Chads and Tyrones and Pookie Ray Rays because they see a protector, a guy that'll kick some guy's ass in the parking lot. That's why they like those bad boys. They see protection. They don't see provision at that point. Maybe they're not ready to settle down. But when they do settle down, they look for a provider. So the provider becomes more important than the protector. Does that make sense? But the provider is seen, Beta Brad. He's the accountant. He's able to be very systematic. He has a routine, but he's able to provide a living. The women will eventually settle down with that man after she's played, and it's been talked about on so many different channels. And then when she gets bored of him, she wants to lay down with a Chad again. She wants the excitement of what a protector can bring. You think Tony's an a-hole? He might be in real life, but he's got some good things. He's got some good messages. It's okay to be selfish, invest in yourself for a change, not pleasing others. That's another thing. We men, we want to please everybody. Every one of us at one point tried to please a wife, a friend, a coworker, a manager, a neighbor. Where did that get us? Right? You're absolutely right. We have to put ourselves first. Our purpose is what is first and foremost. And women love men on purpose. Women love to know a man is not all about them. Reducing variables in life leads to even flow, even keel living compared to undertaking more than can be reasonably managed, says JC from Texas. Timothy Sokol from Southern Cal is back. Good to see you. Females know they are given superior life value over males, hence the arrogance and entitlement of females. Men are too caught up in the fairy tale illusion of romance to actually grasp the truth. Couldn't have said it better. Look at the Titanic. Women and children first, right? Who goes to the front lines of battle? Men. Men are disposable. Okay? It's been happening for years. In fact, centuries. Every facet of society is designed to neuter us. Need to live like the 300, stay hard and cold, and love the fight. 300 with Gerard Butler was a great film, Stephen. You're absolutely right. I love you, darling. Yes, I do. Why you remind me of the sunset? You remind me of the ocean waves that fall across the seashells on the shore. I want to touch your body just like that. Dear. That's right. Women love to hear that, but are they interested in that? My sister has gone out with some real tools. She got bored of her husband and had an affair. He was Beta Brad. Governments will eventually be all women's provider. Yep, they know that, and they know that. So there's all these channels, and there's a lot of PUAs out there telling men that they can change, they can fix women, they can change the whole movement. You can't do shit. Anybody see Spaceballs when they're combing the desert? They got the two groups of white guys are using the comb. They find that the third group, and they're these two black guys, and they got great afros. And I love afros, by the way. And they're using a pick, and they say, "Have you found anything?" And the black guy goes, "We ain't found shit." And that's what I'm telling you. You can't fix shit with women. They are biologically female. We are biological male. Male nature and female nature is like oil and water. Women are emotional based. Well, that's how they should be. And men are logical based. And that's how they should be. But today's modern day boy or man or male has more estrogen or weakness in him than the days of Steve McQueen, John Wayne, and your great-grandpa that fought in World War II. One mighty strong. I used to hate it when you would say abusive and didn't understand it. Now I find myself saying it a lot. Well, how many times have you heard a lady say, "Well, I divorced him because he was abusive and controlling"? But when they say it really, they say he was abusive. Abusive. I just extend that vocal sound. That's funny. A lot of guys they'll write it. Abuse the like button. Timmy Kramer, our forever bachelor, is back. Learn how to golf or ski or scuba. Stay busy in life. Save money. Boy, if more men understood that right there, that right there is a philosophy of living life to your happiness. Timmy Kramer, 57, never got married. His uncle said, don't get married. And he hangs out with guys who are on their third and fourth marriage, paying multiple women alimony and child support, miserable. And here Timmy is chilling, making his steaks, knowing that he never had to deal with that. Good to see our brother Timmy in Scottsdale. Women can only love what you can do for them, says Nick Vincent. Isn't that true? 98%. My younger sister is the average modern woman, list of 100 plus bad boy loser boyfriends, and I try helping her to identify her problem and write over her head. Yeah, my sister's like that. I have a daughter that's a 304. But I'm a realist too. Daddy was removed from her life because mommy thought I was too abusive. My grandpa was an abusive drunk. That's why I don't do that booze anymore. Megatron, well, that's a great example. A lot of guys see their dads that are drunks and they don't ever drink. They saw what destruction it brought. So maybe that was a gift. Maybe that was a gift from your grandfather. They're not designed to be content. They're designed to be unhappy no matter what you do. They'll always look for what you don't do. Yep. And Cosmopolitan, a woman's magazine, probably with Skittle writers and Skittle ladies and non-binaries, they wrote an article and it's a woman's magazine, Cosmopolitan, or was it Elle? Can't remember. That women between the ages of 18 and 85 are the most unhappy. They actually said it. They talked about their own kind being unhappy and uncontent. Now, let's just say 98% of those are. Men might have had a chance when the harsh realities of life dictated females had to obey in order to survive. Today, she has 20 PPs on her phone willing to serve her if she won't. And I tell my boys that. And so I'm talking to my 23-year-old. He's back from Boulder. And he's like, Dad, these women are crazy. I go, well, all the girls your age, they're dating 30, 35-year-olds, and they think they're princesses. He goes, I know. So what are you going to do with that knowledge? You going to wait till you're 32 and date a 23-year-old? Or are you going to start stacking cash and learning things and understanding that you now have a superpower? You have a cheat code. I said, I guarantee these 32-year-olds that have the money and they're accountants and they're making money, those women are all going to divorce them. They'll be back to square one. My grandfather and father, how are they different? That's a great question, Mr. My grandfather always shook my dad's hand. My dad's name is Tim. And so they would say, he'd come to town twice a year. They lived in Sacramento, and he'd come. And my dad's 6'3", my grandfather's 5'8", and my grandfather, a World War II veteran. His first child was born as he was over in England for 4 years on a ship. I still have his pea coat somewhere that he gave me, his Navy pea coat. But he'd shake my dad's hand and say, hello, Tim. My dad hugs me. That's the difference. Different world back then. Tiger Freak. If you don't look and smell like a protector and provider, they will ignore and pass by, especially the attractive woman. That is 100% truth, brother. Tell me where you are from. She says the universe is trying to teach her something. I told her, obviously, she is a slow learner. Nah, they just got a spaghetti brain. They can't help it. Timmy, you have a great life, but it's very hard to break away from the allure of physical affection from women. It's not easy. Yeah, how does Timmy do it? What does Timmy have the curiosity of marriage? That would be a very interesting question for Timmy. There's a lot of guys that want to get married because they're curious. I don't think Timmy's like that. The Noel is what keeps males going back and back after being burned over and over by females. But the next one will be different. Oh, I got 3 buddies that did that. Married 20 plus years. She's better. The one just called me 2 weeks ago. He's like, I should have listened to you. This sucks. Been married 2 years now. A woman without a strong man by her side is a woman heading for the train crash, says Timmy Kramer. Anything men try to do outside of a woman is shamed. Hobbies, interests, because she is not the focus of your attention. You know, here's the bottom line. People say to me, Rab, how do I get a woman? Do everything opposite that you think you should do. If you think she should be a center of attention, have her be no center of attention. If you think you should be nice to her, don't be nice to her. Watch what happens. Jet Electro, I've seen women simp for dirtbags, drunks, and druggies, yet those same women still expected a working man to take care of them. Good to see you, Jet. I can't remember where you're from. I've heard about the 1885. I sort of see it. Oh, absolutely. It's difficult. You can't make princesses happy. Justin is back. Good to see you, Justin DeFlander. I feel like Samson from the Bible now with the weight loss working out and focus on me. I feel unstoppable. The peace leaves feel good. It made me very weak. Every one of us is a Samson, or we have been. And that should be a literal beacon for the future. We can't allow ourselves to become Samson and be bamboozled by the beauty of women. And women are beautiful. And every single one of us, regardless of the red pill, has seen a beautiful one. We have to remind ourselves what's beneath and behind the beauty. Female nature. JC, not inviting misery into your life is absolutely optimal. Well said. That should be a scripture in the Bible. Once you see this female worshiping existence we live in, you see most males in relationships as slaves who believe they are masters. It's the whole I can provide for my family, hence I'm king. No, you're not. She's king. And you know it. Don't get played, retire at 55. You know, you can retire for much more cheaper than you think you can if you live well or live below your means and live minimalistically. With every pursuit in life, the sacrifice, hassle, expense, effort, and risk is either worth the benefit or it is not. JC. I don't mind if I'm the misogynist in her story because she's a 304 in mine. Just whatever your story is, create it. If you come out of rejection, create something of complete positivity. And these are what the channels do, helping other men see from the difficult circumstances we've come out of, so hopefully they don't make the same mistakes. Or what's worked for me as a divorced man that could work for another divorced man. Maybe I learned from him and he learned from me and vice versa. This is all why we do this. This is why I do this. Zero marriage for me. See, most of my buds get disposed. I enjoy the fruits of women, but never take them seriously. By your fruits, ye shall know them. That's a Bible scripture, right, Timmy? Not worth the effort, time, money, and risk. Have a nice day. Just remember, they have to look in the mirror and put certain chemicals and pastes on their face to deceive us. In order to be shamed or insulted, I first have to give a shit what they say in the first place. Well said. Ain't that the truth, Mr. Timothy from California? Go to their place for a night and see them in the morning. Don't invite her to your lair. Ladies need to work to a refreshing age of 80. Yeah. We're seeing. I mean, there's articles that Forbes came out. Women will be 45% will be single and childless between the ages of 25 and 44. What does that tell you? This is Morgan Stanley, Forbes magazine. Investment funds, insurance brokerages talking about huge multi-billion, almost $1 trillion saying this. That's going to hurt their business because they're not married. Most marriages, the man buys life insurance on him in case anybody happens. It's all programming. I did have life insurance on my ex-wife, not much. So it was like 50 grand. I had, $1 million on me. But what's going to happen that 44% of women aren't married? What does that do to their business model? Think about it. If a woman isn't being disagreeable, don't worry, she will be soon. Truth! Great. Enjoying the decline is nirvana. Nirvana, like the Indian nirvana or the music nirvana? I think you mean the Indian aspect of nirvana. Like I said, I can't moderate that warm, wet GI Kung Fu grip turns me into a retard, so I avoid women, or I know I will end up back on the plantation. You know the weakness. You know the kryptonite, and that is kryptonite if you think about it. Kryptonite packaged beautifully. But yeah, good for you. Southern Cal, Tiger Freak, good to see you. 818. This is a wonderful thing you're doing here, brother. Well, I'm just glad you all are here to contribute and participate and share your experiences with even the Radster. Radster loves to hear from every single one of you what your life has been, how you changed, what you've done to improve, because I take all that in. I listen to my brothers. This is just a platform to share. If she really supports me, the least she can do is Invest in one of my hobbies, drizzle, soft guy era. Due to my non-desire for kids, I want to live. Let's see. Marriage is a low priority. I don't even think I want to live with a woman. If we do, it's 1 year, and that year had to be better. Be spectacular. I don't even think I'd live with. I don't think you should live with a woman, Mysterio. Just have her have a house, you have a house, and just chill. Jonathan Nobleway. As the saying goes, if they ain't bitching, they ain't breathing. Several have shown the happiest group of people are single men with over 100K of income. There you go. Stephen from Arizona. At least, Stephen's talking about what he needs to avoid so he doesn't go back to plantation. I think that's brilliant. That's a great introspection. And men, they say, oh, I can deal with a woman. I can be a boyfriend with all this red pill knowledge. I can get the peace leave and then I go back, and eventually they end up purple pilled again. Look at me, I'm a 10. Drizzle. Invest in cat food stock, brothers, is going to skyrocket. Absolutely. I think anything that women want that makes them happy, that makes them look younger. I mean, investing in Botox, investing in lip injection companies, investing in extension companies, investing in anything that makes a woman feel younger and happier. Or that can remove a man's presence, cats, what women do together, when they go on girls' nights. Obviously you probably won't be able to afford a casino in Vegas and all that crap, but you can invest in boxed wine. I think boxed wine is going through the roof. I think the vodka, the skinny vodkas, if you can invest in a skinny vodka stock, I don't know where John Boston is, but he would tell us what to do. West Michigan in the 616. Attaboy. The ladies need to keep the shaming language going. It's working great. Yeah, bring it on. The cabal will need plenty of new immigrants to replace the men gone off the plantation. That's their plan. Now, guess who's coming through the borders? If we as MGTOW help one guy or with our work, it's honorable. Absolutely. Yeah, we share with one another what helps us. Mountain Monk. The whole goal of this channel and of a lot of channels, good to see Mountain Monk in the house, is to help men stay alive in the best possible way. Insatiability cannot be fulfilled, a waste of time, effort, and money. Trying peace out, pursuing peace. Well said, JC. The Revster is in the house. Good to see you. Happy Sunday, the Rev. He knows a thing or two. In a van down by the river. No wife, no kids. To see Rev. Wish I could have been out there with you guys. With Brandon Trueblood. You're right, Timothy. I've red pill at least 3 in person. Most men find the red pill because of what they're going through. We do not recruit. You cannot recruit for this. Purina and 9 Lives are great. Yeah, we sure are. Even the perfect of marriages go down in flames due to modern misandry. Absolutely. Absolutely. The few and far between times Princess grants a man access to her sexuality or sexually is not worth years and years of toil spent by males trying to continually please and support a female. I want to bring something up that might be a little risque. Let's say you masturbate. When you're done masturbating, you're tired, you've relaxed or whatever. Regardless if you everyone in here has masturbated. When you stop masturbating, when you have a release, they call that a climax, you're not really thinking about a woman, right? So what happens when you climax with a woman, get off top, lay aside? What are you thinking about? Peace, quiet, and freedom, right? She might scratch your back, but at the end, you're not really thinking of that sexually, that sexual trigger anymore. But we put so much credence into laying with women, right? And it can really topple men. It can really have not a very positive, change for that man. If you boil it down, what we need and what we want from a woman is this: boyfriend, girlfriend, separate residences, having fun, no kids, weekend sleepover 2 to 3 times a month. There you go. I don't think that's anything wrong. If you understand that, the woman takes care of herself. You have separate residences. You keep it completely MGTOW, and in a way, you're doing your own thing. You have your own friends. You have your own life. Sure. Beware of the scam of fake sincerity. Well said, JC. Box wine, Franzia, here I come. Franzia and Gallo, the big gallon, the glass gallons with the old fart on the front. Smart men are those that learn from their mistakes. Wise men are those that learn from the mistakes of others. Choose to be the wise guy. Well said, Jerome Markel. I wish I was okay slaying the peace sleeve. I could get it, but my dumbass would 100% fall in love with it. Red pill mindset, blue pill. You know what? And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. I mean, all of us have been in that situation. None of us, our programming wants to take care of a woman, okay, raise children, be an influence on our children and our families and our grandkids. That is what our programming tells us to do. But it's too risky. The rewards aren't there anymore. And I do not recommend it. Avoid entanglement that will cause massive soul-crushing emotional turmoil and life-altering financial problems with this entanglement. Ain't that the truth, brother? Tiger Freak says, like the W. Duff Ed legend Scott Hall, chicas are fun. Ain't that the truth? Oh, you're absolutely right. What does Rick, the nature boy, say? I kiss the girls and make them cry. That guy couldn't handle a relationship. Watch Rick, the nature boy on Netflix, his documentary. Very fascinating. A simple discipline, never allow any person to do your thinking for you. I wish more men understood that, JC. But our programming. You know, men, we have male nature. And our male nature has been massively influenced by the television, by the government, by education, by so forth. And we have to literally snap ourselves out of this. Steven says, I kicked prawn and fapping 8 months ago, was starting carnivore and quit drinking. So several massive changes at once completely changed the trajectory of my life, mood, and outlook. What attaboy. There's a lot of guys doing that. Really, really working physically on themselves. And how it, you know, translates to your mental and emotional state as well, and spiritual. The guy who has princess in the passenger seat on his way for a night on the town with his girl is being taken on a long con job. Females feign affection for males and then serve. Women don't get ready for you. They get ready for the other women that see you with her. Remember that. Good for you, Stephen. Quit the prawn. Quit the prawn. Timothy Sokol, after the divorce court, grinder monk mode is the only logical path to take. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The ROI is never there, says Mount Monk. Best thing I've found since 3 years divorce is being involved with the brethren. Joining a frat has changed my life, and the adult male frats are in need of membership. Rotary, Moose, Kiwanis will do. Yeah. Men relate to other men. And every single one of those men that are married, 99% are miserable. But they still relate, and you can relate to them, right? Woo! Ric Flair, woo woo! Well said, John Markel. Misery loves company. Avoid miserable people. Avoid the toxic people in your life. And they could be a child. I have a child that's toxic. Don't talk to her. I have, you know, if you have parents that are toxic, coworkers, neighbors, friends, get rid of toxicity. That if someone said, Rad, what's the number one thing I should do? Get rid of toxic people. Don't talk to them. Don't give them power anymore. That could be your ex-wife. That could be your baby mama. That could be so many people. Get out of toxicity. If you cannot remove toxicity and toxic people from your life, you will not learn anything. Tip from my fellow me, prawn is a symptom, not the root cause. Fix the other areas of your life, and you will naturally lose all interest in prawn. Well said, Stephen. This is why we do these channels, to hear from men that have come out of the darkness. Question, I love asking a woman, when was the last time you cooked a home-cooked meal? I guarantee, Timmy, they could not cook a steak like you can, or a potato, or asparagus, with a nice Pacifico. At this point in my life, family and friends have crushed and devoured romantic relationships. Well said. D-Man is back. Good to see you, brother. One of my original wrenches is D-Man Fee. Good to have you. But you're right. Now, let me go back to Mysterio's comment. Hey, Rad, you have a temple recommend? At one point, I did. Not anymore. It's been a couple decades. It is a choice. Being 100% in control and in command of your life is optimal. Well said. Here's the deal. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have a romantic relationship. There's nothing wrong with that feeling. That is what men's nature is. And there's so many, folks that say, That's wrong. That's bullshit. I get it. It's a different world we live in now than it was 400 or 500 years ago, based on how men and women integrated, even 100 years ago. But it's okay to have that thought. Does that make sense? But you have to know what that thought will bring in the future. And that thought in the future brings a very almost zero ROI. And that's unfortunate. So no, we don't recommend that anymore. It is a choice. Being 100% in control of and in command of your life is optimal. Brad, should I get a reverse vasectomy, go back to work and try? Yes, you're going to get a gordita, Rev. Her name's going to be Alejandra from Brazil. Ric Flair is the best a-hole in professional wrestling. Rad entertainer galore. Oh, he was the best. Go watch this Netflix documentary. It's wonderful. Beware of chameleon gaslighting. Sweet, sweet, sweet until you're entangled. Guys, the biggest love bombers are the girls with daddy issues. First question you ever ask if you ever go on a date, we have guys in here that are monk. We have guys that hit and quit. We have guys that have a desire. All sorts of men. If you do go on a date, ask them what their relationship is with their father. If they say they hate the father, you know exactly where that's going. You'll be love bombed. They'll go nuts. If they say they have a wonderful relationship with their father, that could be a good thing if you're serious. But I still don't say get with it. Those are just the questions I ask. And Timmy, tell me what you cooked. What was your last dinner you cooked? Will you ever do a brief summary of your grandfather's experience of the war in his life in those times? I should do that because it was quite fascinating. I actually made 2 videos of him. In fact, I should probably put a link to it next time. My grandfather, I recorded I think it was 2000 or 2001. I asked him a bunch of questions. He was 96 years old. Thanks, D-Man, for putting the Rumble up. I just uploaded a video. It's very difficult to upload videos there. They used to translate from YouTube to Rumble, and I think they cut that connection. I gotta love those birth control glasses. Attaboy. SCE, my master wrench. Good to see you. If Jim Crow goes to prison, it would be his first complete sentence. Ha! There you go. Girls who have daddy issues are semi-sexy. Well, the issue with girls with daddy issues is they're wonderful in those first couple throws. That stream you did with Rev a couple years ago, you both seem like childhood friends. It's rare that I see that sort of connection. Well, I think every one of us, Rev stayed with me, Scotty stayed with me, I met True Blood, I met a couple others, Ike, one other guy here in Utah. But here's the deal. I have more in common with guys I've never met face to face than I do with friends. And when you meet somebody that you've seen in the chat, I mean, did Rev went up and hung out with One Fast Stack and Chris Mitchell? It was like they're probably long lost blood brothers, right? I mean, they meet up, people meet, and there's a connection instantly. It's like, you know what? These guys are authentic. There's nothing to steal from men. We share, right? And so you're absolutely right. Yeah, when Rev here, it was great. Rev went to my sister's house with me, who's married. She's a 1% to 2%. Ask Rev. And we had Easter dinner. It was wonderful. Females use interactions with males for experiences. Females want their experience of being chased, served, the wedding, pregnancy, and babies. Females use men for experiences, then move on. Well, that just says that, one mighty and strong, women are not content. So if you know that as a man, you should only, enjoy the moment that you're in, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Baby back ribs and steaks with grilled veggies last night. Had dinner with my family and nieces and nephews. Timmy Kramer for 300 Trebek. Serving your best interest and avoiding getting gutted protects your finances, retirement, home, peace, reputation, freedom, and mental health. Well said. JC's laying it down at Chinatown tonight. If she ain't submissive, she can get the stepping. Ain't no one got time for that. Tiger Freak. Wonderful. Rev streams are outstanding. I look forward to Rev. He hasn't done a lot of stuff. He's kind of that, he just put a video up the other day. But when he does them, they're good. He's more of our collaborator. But when he does his van stuff, it's awesome. You get back to Utah soon, Rev. I sold the green couch, by the way. You might as well call this place the Digital Night of the Round Table. A very big round table it is. We will be in Mexico together. You're going to have to drive your white van, take a serpentine belt, and maybe an alternator so you don't get stuck in the Baja. If you had to have an actor to play your grandfather, who would you have him regardless? Ooh, probably shit. He's not a Humphrey Bogart. He's not a Cary Grant. Jimmy Stewart. That's who I'd have play my grandfather, Jimmy Stewart. Great question. I'm surprised Carfax on women isn't $1 billion business. For $99, you get their credit score, body count, good and bad reviews, mileage, and market value. You know what? You could probably find half of that out just by looking and hearing them on the phone. Right? But yeah, I heard somebody saying that they were putting together like a crazy baby mama terrorist, as Greg Adams says, like a database of women that have taken their men to court and been crazy. But there's Facebooks now, apparently. Am I dating the same woman? And there's also one for women. Am I dating the same guy? There's a guy in Chicago suing 4 women for defamation based on that. So it's kind of there. Be interesting though. But the quickest way you can find a woman is look in her eyes. Ask her that question. What's your relationship like with your father? Does she have red flags? Does she have tattoos? Does she have piercings? Does she speak with a masculine voice? Does she carry herself feminine? Does she respect men? You can find all that out in the first 5 minutes. Connecting in person with other like-minded men is one of the best things you can do. 100%. 100%, Nick. Errol Flynn. Oh, that would be another good actor. Yeah. Jimmy Stewart. Well, listen here. How did you jump? Well, you jumped off the bridge. A little fella. How did you? My grandfather kind of talked like him. Ignore the naysayers. Trust yourself. And rad, says Christian. Guys, you have more intelligence in your brain and your tummy than you think you have. Women have just clouded that. They have literally, it's like a hose. Once you kink a hose, the water can't run. It can't do its job. That's what women do. They kink the hose. They make us, they make the attention at hand become stifled. And the attention goes to them. It's a kinked hose. Christopher Walken. I need a little bit more cowbell gene. Avoid crazy people that claims, you got to be careful. You got to watch out for crazy toxicity. Guys, the whole Hollywood entertainment world outside of the superheroes and the thrillers are based on relationships gone wrong. Fatal Attraction, Gone Girl, Acrimony, The Black Tyler Perry. That's the only film I like by Tyler Perry because Tyler Perry Skittles, but made a wonderful movie about a black couple. She leaves him, he becomes successful, he remarries, and she goes nuts. Watch Acrimony. Even with the best vetting, it's still rolling the dice. How many men get divorced after 30 years and thought it would last forever? It's happening. I just saw an article, Stephen. The gray divorce in 2024 is gaining massive steam. Gray divorce or 50 and 60s divorce. If you're going through a divorce in your mid to late 50s and 60s, man, you are fucked. If prostitution were legal, the female hustle of making males jump through hoops in order to get some would be over. Men's labor and toil for their entire life because of sexual desire. Well said, brother. Steve McQueen, I thought about that. In fact, I was looking up Steve McQueen earlier. He died at age 50 from mesothelioma, which was a cancer. He said it was based on the sets and the race suits, the insulation that he used racing cars. Go figure. Age 50. It makes no sense to invite someone who can cause you chronic sadness in your life. Well, we give too much power. That's a problem. Men give too much power to women. They put their hearts in their hand and say, I love you so much. Take my heart. I will jump as high as you want me to. And guess what happens? Mental deletion, eventually. Emotional deletion, and potentially physical and financial deletion. Christopher Walken's good. Even if they do well with their dad, still not worth it. Sure, they still. I hung out with a gal that had a wonderful relation. I met her dad, nice guy, but she was whacked too. Divorced her husband, had an affair. So yeah, that doesn't mean anything, but at least it's a potential positive. But yeah, female nature still will rear its head. When one lies for a living, everything is gaslighting. The most deceitful of all lies, fake sincerity. Well said, JC. Carol O'Connor, Archie Bunker. They couldn't even play that TV show today. Never see more tattoos on women ever in my 58 years of life. It's bizarre. Attention, man. Hive mind. And now they're using the Stanley Cup. You know, the cups that look like this, but they got the straw. This cup was given to me by my employer. Lots of actors have gone through lots of relationship, lots of divorce. You know, it's funny. If you find an actor that you like, go to their Wikipedia page. Most of them have been married 4 or 5 times. You ain't lying, Mysterio. Al Bundy. Al Bundy. Married with children. How about MGTOW Holiday Exchange Homes? I'm in England looking for Thailand or Philippines or the States. There you go, Nick. We'll meet out in Thailand then. A man will lose his assets. My man loses everything when he gets tied up and the woman leaves him. He loses his emotional assets, his mental assets, his spiritual, his physical, and his financial. Everything. Look at Dr. Dre. He had an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm based on his divorce. And he's worth what, $1 billion? Gave her $100 million. That's a good deal, actually. He gave her 10% of his income, not 50, 10%. But he went through the emotional, physical, almost died, right? I mean, he was in the ICU. Go figure. If you had to race cars, what would you want to drive? Formula NASCAR. F1 would be cool. I don't know. I've never driven in that one-seated cockpit. Hammerhand would definitely do F1. My sister's going somewhere to see, I think they're going to, with the guy she's dating again from Virginia, they're going to Italy to see the F1 race. Tyler Perry is a full bowl of Fruit Loops, but his film Daddy's Little Girl was very good and surprisingly had an authentic, strong male character. Eldris Elba's, I know who that is. Oh, that's great. I'll check it out. But check out Acrimony. Acrimony is basically a Gone Girl, but like more realistic. If and when men boycott marriage en masse, the system will have no other option than to change. Well, then the Me Too thing will go higher, right? You know, that men have to protect it. We have to protect everything. Guys, we're living literally protecting ourselves. We live in a zombie land. And if you look at ladies as zombies and the fact that they're going to suck you dry as much as possible to enhance their attention and validation, you know, you'll avoid them like the plague. Divorce laws, paychecks are bad. They sure are. The prostitution game is coming to fruition. California, Maine have made it legal for them to advertise. Yep, I agree, brother. Becoming the host to a parasite is not optimal. Well said, JC. Letting it down to Chinatown tonight. F1 is amazing, but I enjoy watching Le Mans because of the variety of cars and being a Porsche guy. I love the Porsche GT. Porsche did the Baja and they won. Like in the 70s or something. There you go. Thai food, guys, is one of my favorite foods. Top 2, Thai food and Indian. I get no days off work this week. My coworker had a heart attack, 40 years old. Wife left him. He's, 40 years old. You know what? I guarantee that heart attack was basically built on the rejection in his tummy by the chemicals that we were talking about earlier. The chemicals that we feel. Men that feel that huge depressed, that pit in the stomach that is out of control will cause that. Man, hopefully he's doing well, brother. Now I'm starting to see females in their late 50s, early 60s with purple hair and tattoos, me too, that look distorted because of their sagging skin. Females are cartoon characters seeking attention. Seen a lot of those women. Saw a woman the other day getting a soda pop. She must have been 65, blue hair. Just thinking, what? Men live in an active world that doesn't like them. 88% of females don't like 95% of men due to going after a rare one. Is that not delusion? If somebody said 88% of your women going after 95, removing 95%, what are your chances of finding the 1%? Like, seriously, you damn gorditas. Alex Jones sounds crazy, but he's spot on. Well, he's different, you know. He definitely is not part of the establishment. Sometimes it feels like red pill is mainstream, but the vast majority of men I meet are extremely blue pill. Well said. Then even the ones who are semi-red pill haven't connected all the dots yet. Sure. But at least we understand what the weakness could be. At least we understand what the plantation, if we do imbibe, will reveal, right? They made marriage a ward of the state. Now their vaginas can be made ward of the state too. If marriage is transactional, it makes sex transactional too. Oh, sure. Jet Electro. I don't want to race, but I'll cruise a big old classic American-made sedan like a classic old Buick Lincoln or Chrysler all day long. In high school, I liked the one that Sean penned, the Monte Carlo SS. I thought those were dope. The Monte Carlo SS. And I also like the Lincoln Continental with the suicide doors, like a 1964 Continental painted black. Oh, and the 37 Lincoln Zephyr. Thank you. Lowered, maybe a 1953 Ford F-150 that the Expendables, Stallone drove in the Expendables. Some of those old cars are dope. Just seen a video that Ozempic, the hot new weight loss, causing more sag. Oh, guys, there's no shortcut. And that's what pharmaceuticals want you to think. In current times, marriages become horrible for men. Fair warning, don't do it. Don't sign up to be taken for granted and then harvested for resources while being discarded via divorce. God, wish I knew that. More like 1% of 1%. Keep searching and have fun. Don't eat McSchlonnels. You can't give a female $100 for SCX. That's illegal. You can give females your life or for her to possibly get SCX, and this is fine. Cash for SCX is bad. Male life servitude, good. Yeah, it's crazy. It's still transactional, right? It's just how it's calculated. They withdrew the AstraZeneca vaccine because it causes a rare blood clot. Even New York Times admitted it. I heard about that. All right, 59 Cadillac Eldorado. You're going Elvis on me, Justin. Now, did he drive a 59 or 55? I can't remember. Women have earned themselves the equality of working until age 70 or 80. Don't get in their way. We just have to accept life. And you know what life is? Life is accepting that marriage and cohabitation, having kids in today's modern world with the modern woman is not recommended. We understand that our brains are different. We understand that most men should run on their logic, or should. All of us run on, but most women, the majority, run on emotions. We have to accept that. And so if that is the case, then we have to accept the outcomes if we choose to be with a woman or not, or get married or not, or be a passport bros. It's all acceptance of life, but you have to know the consequences of those choices. I have not heard that, Christian. Mercury Bobcat Villager all the way. Boy, that is a rare car, Rev. And Rev would know because he turned wrenches for 20 years. Well said, brother. Eat healthy food. Women are women no matter where you go, except that. Absolutely. I mean, that's a problem. I mean, people, I don't hate women. I just understand them. Or at least that's my intent in life. My last 50 years will be to understand more and more about me and where I fit in the world and how I deal with ladies. And I know that if you lay your emotion, if you lay your gut chemicals on the line, you're going to suffer. I would bet all of my money that you will be taken advantage of. Right? Thanks for that comment, Jerron. Men solve problems, what we do and always have done. Women create problems. Men are disposable in this soy society. So you have to accept that and put yourself first. You go back to the days of the World War I, World War II. Who was disposable? Who jumped out of the boats onto Normandy and got shot? Those guys were badass. Like literally 50 people jumping out, 28 of them were shot in the first 3 seconds. 10 made it. And over and over again. They knew what they were getting into. Their desire for freedom was more important than their will to live. Thanks, SE, for being here, brother. Take care. I have a huge list of dream cars, but the 60s were awesome. I drool over the 64 Lincoln. There you go. That Lincoln Continental black. Oh, beautiful car. And then when they made it in the 70s, oh, no. Indifference is the way. Indifference is the way. We don't hate them. We just understand. We should understand ourselves too. We should understand what causes men to fall and to get emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually abused in relationships. If men understood just one thing, the emotional potential abuse that a woman could wreak on their lives, I guarantee they would not set foot in a marriage or a cohabitation or having babies. They might be mental about it, but emotionally they understood. Just 1 out of the 5. There's emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, and financial. If they understood emotional, that literally would trump everything else. Indoctrination has taught women the victim mindset from a young age. Don't buy yourself a woman, rent one. Timmy Kramer. Renting a woman for $300 Trebek. Well, they do. They're called escorts. Don't forget, WW2 vets were the original passport bros. They sure were. AWOL, including your mama. Well said, Jerome Markel. Working girls have been legal in Nevada for its entire statehood. If you're close to Tijuana and Nuevo Laredo, there are other options. 58 Chevy Bel Air. Ooh, the Bel Air. My dad had one. I prefer square body trucks. Ooh, are we talking like the, what's the one? The Chevy one. What's the Chevy one? Not the LUV. It's the other one. With the square headlights or the round headlights. You know what I'm talking about. 50s and 60s were most likely the height of American society, cars, music, relationships, families, work, quality of life. Since then, it's been downhill. It's gotten too easy. The internet and computers have made life a lot easier. That's the whole issue. You need to try out for comedy rad. Abused. Oh, I'm horrible at comedy. Come on. Remember, folks, Metal Gear Solid Marrow is also a female hypergamy. There you go. Thailand, Pattaya. I would like to go to Thailand, all over that country for a month. I think it'd be fun. Eating great food, seeing some Muay Thai fights, riding an elephant. C10. Yeah, that might be it. Most square body trucks were 75 to 85. Isn't the square body truck? Yeah, I'm thinking the 60s Chevy were more rounded. The 70s square body, God, it was a GMC or Chevy, and it had that funny writing. It said like, come on, I'm pretty good with that, but I can't remember it. Also gets me when I see a female behind the wheel of a luxury automobile riding past a man on the side of the road holding a sign. Males must do to survive. Females just exist. Well, sure. Yeah. Men exist. Men have to fight to survive. I mean, we fought to get to that egg to fertilize it, right? We fight. Jawara is back. Good to see Jawara. He's playing his drums tonight. He got a Pearl set. There you go. The GMC Sierra. What is the name of that? It's a GMC. And on the side it says like, gosh damn it. I'll figure it out. Wasn't the Blazer, Bronco. Those are dope. Scouts. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I like Korean barbecue and Thai. I love Thai. Anything Thai, bring it on. I've never had a bad Thai food. And Korean kimchi and beluga and Korean short ribs. Oh. Early Dodge Rams with mud tires. Attaboy. Might have been the Typhoon. When I think of Typhoon, I think about the Schwinn Typhoon. I had one of those. The old balloon tire bikes. Could be the S10. Nah, it's not the Apache. I would know it if I knew it. I'll figure it out. Rad against budget attorneys. Gregory used. You guys, you get what you pay for. If you're ever in dealing with someone in a black robe, you better pay the most expensive. I don't care. You mortgage your wiener. You live in a gutter. You sell everything. You do not find a budget attorney because they're stupid. When you find a woman who can cook and clean up your house and your kitchen, that's when you have a great mother and loving her own children. There you go. Swing. The Schwinn. The guys, it's been a great stream. Just remember what's in your gut can either cause you to have reality check or a fantasy. Our gut and our brain have a connection, and most men act off their gut. We have to understand that. So till next time, rip it up. Let's figure out what that Chevy truck is. I'll find out what it is, and we'll go from there. Japanese barbecue is also good. Never had a bad Japanese food either. You guys have been great. We'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.